Welcome
to the J&O Show.
We talk about
American men are agreeing to leave society. Yo.
Today, I want to talk about why men are going their own way. Why a lot of men are abandoning their families or abandoning trying to date or relationships. Why community is failing and patriotism or shared social bonds are getting destroyed. And it comes down to ownership. Now, I might be canceled for this video, but hear me out. If a man doesn't feel ownership in the land, in his family, in his tribe or village, he will not be inspired to accept responsibility for that thing. For instance, if I was starting a business and I wanted someone to be an A player for me, someone to be high up in the business, to be a great leader, to really help the business flourish, what would I do? I would give them a ownership role. I would give them a share of the company, right? It's the same thing in society. If you want participants, really good citizens, if you want men to overcome their lower nature and rise to truly masculine and beautiful men and leaders, you need to give them ownership, or else they're gonna say F it.
Tell us how you really feel.
We could take a cue from business world on this one. This is where the whole partner thing with lawyers, that's a part of the reason that they do that, because the amount of hours and work that comes with that job, once you get to a certain point, they have to give you a piece of the company in order to make it worth it for you to do everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you had anything that you wanted to speak about this before I could say anything.
To me, that just makes sense, period. Like you just said, and like he said, like when you think about it from a business standpoint, if you want somebody to have buy-in, they have to feel invested. If they just feel like they're just putting in all this work, all these hours, and it's for nothing, like just for a paycheck, after a while, they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna find something else. You want them to be invested so that way they take pride in their work and they invest in what it is that they're doing. So, yeah.
So just to clue y'all in about guys, here's the thing. Men are built very different from women. I know we live in a time where we're trying to say the opposite, but unfortunately it's not true. Men are very different from women in so many different ways. This is one of the ways that men are different from women, even when it comes to kids. Women bond with children while they're still pregnant. There's a biological bond made so that women will do anything they have to protect their unborn child. There are biological chemicals that are released when you get pregnant, especially once you realize that you have a baby. It's literally chemicals released into your body so that you can protect the child. Men don't got none of that. Now, if a man really wants kids and he already has this emotional predetermination to want and to love a kid because he really wants them, and maybe he's had to wait, maybe y'all had trouble getting pregnant, or maybe he took his time to find the exact right woman to have his children. When you guys have when you have this child, he's going to be all, oh my gosh, I want to kiss your belly and all that. He's going to be like that fairy tale thing that we all have in our minds that does happen sometimes. If he already has a predisposed desire and want to have children, especially if he's had to wait, he'll gravitate towards the child a certain way, yes. But for a lot of guys where the child is either unexpected or it's something they were just like, oh, when it happens, not really a big deal, all of that other stuff, those men have a different type of relationship with their children and even with their family. Those men fall in love with their kids over time, especially once they get here. They don't love them from inception. They don't love them from when they're first born, not the way women do.
Okay.
Now, there is a love there, but it's not what women are experiencing. For a lot of women who are trying to understand how is it that a man can just walk away from his child, you can't even fathom or understand why they don't have that automatic pull. They don't have any of the biological markers that you guys have that give you that automatic pull, nor is the baby actually growing in their body to give them the psychological connections that you guys have. All of the connections that you guys are making because of pregnancy, men have none of these. Going through the birthing process, the fact that you had to actually fight and go through all of this drama and trauma to get this baby here, all of that creates a desire to be close to your child because you already went through hell just to get it here. Men haven't gone through any of that.
Yeah, all they went through was the pleasure part.
All they went through was the pleasure, and maybe for some men, they ain't get no nookie during the pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe for some men, they got a whole lot of it. So maybe it was just all pleasure. You know, it's different for each couple, each guy, each woman. But women have to understand that their desire to sacrifice and give up their lives and stuff, it makes it a harder thing for them. So a lot of women are wondering why men, you know, when they get pregnant, especially if they're not married to the man, why is it that it's so difficult for these men to just take care of their responsibility? Why wouldn't they just automatically, naturally do it just like we do? Well, we don't have any of the constructs that you guys have. And if the man has not married you and you're pregnant, that lets you know that there's a certain level of mistrust there. There's a certain level of not knowing if you are worthy of him dedicating his life and sacrificing his life in order to provide for you and your children and in order to make a family. Because you're doing it, if you're doing it outside of wedlock, he hasn't made the determination in his mind that you are worth all of the drama and the trauma that he's going to have to go through to provide for this family yet. So if you are in that situation, mind you, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. All I'm doing is giving you some of the insight into the how men think and how men move and why men may not think or see things exactly the way a woman does. There are actual reasons. And like I said, there is something about marriage. Marriage is very important to men, and a lot of people just downplay it. But even the men who say marriage ain't nothing, I don't see why I gotta do all of that, they're showing that there's a certain level of distrust to you where they don't want to tie themselves to you. Or maybe they don't believe in any woman in such a way. Because it might not necessarily be personal. It might just be in general, I don't trust any of these women. Or it might be some type of trauma in his mind about what marriage is because of what he went through in his household and stuff. There's usually a reason why a guy doesn't want to get married. And a lot of times you're either walking into it and it's not necessarily you personally, or it really is you personally, and him not wanting to marry you is actually making a statement of what he thinks about you.
Well,
maybe he's the type of person that doesn't trust anybody to that level, and that includes you. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, in marriage, you're to be one flesh. So biblically, the man is supposed to love you like he loves his own body. If he's okay with you just leaving, I ain't worried about you, man. Go if you gotta go, whatever. Would he do that if somebody was to say, you know what, I'm gonna just chop your arm off and just walk away with it? Do you think he would be okay with that? You think he would be like, so what, do what you gotta do, I don't care. That's what it means to be one. That's how tight the marital bond is supposed to be. And it's explained in the Bible too. They talk about like a man is to love his wife like he loves his own body, and that's where it's coming from. You're supposed to have such a relationship with each other that being away from this person or losing this person would be like losing a limb.
Right.
It's supposed to literally be that deep. And there are reasons why men don't want to cross that line with certain women, and you have to understand that there are underlying things. It's not just his worldview.
Also, if you made it this far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Give us a thumbs up. Turn those post notifications. All right. Let YouTube know that you appreciate what we're putting down.
All right.
So the main impulse within most men is towards freedom. We don't want to be tied down to all of these obligations and responsibilities to our village, to the nation, to our job, to our family. Like, we just want to wander freely, right? A lot of men do. And society and cultures in the ancient world coped with this will towards freedom within men by offering them ownership, by offering them authority. And this ownership is what created citizens. And this is really important. This is what my last video is about. Bear with me if you're feeling triggered. Citizenship is when you own a long-term stake within a larger project, right? So let's say you're in a village, okay? And you own a piece of land in that village, and your kids are probably going to inherit that piece of land. And on top of that, you feel like you have great ownership of your family. You're more of the patriarch of your family. Therefore, how are you going to treat your family, and how are you going to treat the land?
Much better.
A lot of modern people would be like, oh, he's going to abuse them and all these things. It's like, no, that's the exception to the rule. The main rule would be you would try to see that whole thing flourish. A father generally wants to see the best for their kids. A father who owns the land is going to pass it down generations, wants to see the best of that land, is probably going to build it up in some way. And on top of that, you are going to want the best for your community. You're going to go.
You're going to care more about the laws. You're going to care more about the community. You're going to be more involved in the community. You're going to have more stake in going to create community. You're going to want to go meet your neighbors because you know y'all all in this together. Part of the problem with the suburbs is most of the people don't even own the homes. So why would they go out of their way to go meet their neighbors and build this base here when they could be gone next year or 2 years from now? But when you say, hey, we're going to be here for the next 20 years, we're all in this together. You're more likely to build that community, do potlucks where y'all all get together and come together and get to know each other's names so y'all can protect that community.
Very true. I detect no lies in that.
They spin straight facts right there, boy.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing with the modern world, because a lot of people are not putting down roots like they used to. Mm-hmm. Usually they're not buying a house. They're not buying their forever house right off the bat. Like back in the day, there were always starter houses and stuff like that. But I think that it was more often back in the day that your ideal was to get a house.
Right.
Not necessarily to get a house to move into another house,
right.
Until you can afford to get the house you really want.
Right.
Back in the day, it was like, I'm going to get a house.
Right.
And that definitely changed the way that you treated your neighbors and the way you treated your neighborhood and things of that nature, because I'm going to be here probably for the rest of my life, or at least for the next couple of decades.
Yeah.
Whereas now, and I ain't even going to cap, none of this is like a y'all thing. When we moved into this house, I was like, man, we got like 5 good years until we can get what we really want. I'm serious.
So true.
I had so much appreciation for the fact that we have this house and we're not in an apartment anymore. And like the adjustment period was crazy. I was like, whoa, you know what? We watching TV together.
We could turn it up.
We could turn this joker up. and that was a big change, because we just went from apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment. Mm-hmm. And now it's different. Yeah. So I appreciate the house, but even from when we first moved in here, I was already thinking about what our next house was going to be, because we need more space for the YouTube setup, and I would love to be able to put the studio in there, and it would be great to be able to bring the dungeon, because I get my squats in. Y'all should hear me in there squatting. Sometimes my daughter walked in the room one time. She was like, "Daddy, are you okay?"
I'm like, "No, baby, it's just a leg day. He all right."
Sometimes on leg day, bro, I'm done for the rest of the day. I just be in the living room, laying down on the carpet, face down, just done sometimes. But I would love to move inside. I would love some air conditioning and some heat. Yeah. Instead of just being outside cold and hot, depending on what time of year it is and what day it is, still squatting. Mm. I'm sweating through my clothes and the floor. The floor is sitting up there getting soaked up, and it's concrete. It don't even matter. But look, so the mentality of the people is also leading into why a lot of people are not putting all their eggs in one basket. Why people are less prone to commitment. Mm-hmm. It's because our mentality has changed, because we all want excess. The reality is we have enough house, but our mindset is still on, I want more. Mm. And it also irks me a lot that we could have got more, but we was getting denied at every turn. I'm not even gonna cap. What we got approved for, we went and we saw some really nice houses that had plenty of space. Yeah. They had plenty of space, but they weren't for us. Yeah. So I'm not gonna act like I don't feel salty about that. I still do. You ain't lying. I feel like Jesus was messing me around, dangling carrots in my face. Like,
he gave us what we needed.
And that's the part. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly the part. He gave us what we had to have. And that's just expanding on, it's the same thing she said. But he gave us what we had to have this house first, because we needed a brand new house. Mm-hmm. All of the other houses I was talking about, they was at least 5 to 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And there was certain things, after 10 years, you got to start looking at replacing that roof. We ain't got no replace no roof money. We ain't got no money.
We got at least 20 years on the roof.
20 years on the roof? Yeah. So what is it, 20 years on the roof, 10 years on the HVAC system?
Something like that.
Okay. We ain't got no HVAC system money either. We ain't got no 10 grand. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think you're right. But we ain't got no money replacing no HVAC system, but we wouldn't have had a choice. Mm. When she says we got what we need, she meant it. Mm-hmm. We needed a new house with just enough space for us to do what we got to do. And he'd be like, look, let me see, y'all take care of this, and we'll revisit y'all getting a little bit more once y'all show me y'all can take care of this, because that's how life is. Yeah. That's how it is. And I can tell you just from having to mow this daggone lawn,
I'm just saying.
he was right.
Yep.
Like he always is. And I just had to. Here, Jermaine. Okay, I'll.
Really?
Thank you for this L. It's also a W, but it's also an L. But I had to take the L. It was a W, but I had to take, there's a part of it that was an L, and I had to cradle that joker, and I had to fall asleep with it. but as I started thinking, I was like, oh, this is actually a W. I just couldn't see it. Y'all see I got glasses on. So anyway. I'm chatting. I'm gonna stop. He gave 2 great points. I don't really want to go so far. Y'all can go and check out this video. It's an amazing video. But before we're done, is there anything that you want to speak to? I know it was a lot about men, but is there anything you wanted to speak to before we ended it?
Just comment down below your thoughts and let us know what you think about this topic. American men are agreeing to quit society. Do you believe in that? And if so, why?
Yeah.
Share your thoughts.
And also, guys, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that. I need you to hit that subscribe button. I need you to hit the notification button. I need you to hit all the buttons.
Yep.
Thank you. That was it, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all can go and check out. If I can find the original source material, I'll use it.
Okay.
Go check out Poor Man's Podcast. It's somebody I've been sub to for the last couple of years. He always has dope content. Or go and check out this guy. He's obviously very smart. He's has things well thought out. Maybe he'll give us some perspective on why and how men move like they do. And I think he did a really good job. There's a lot more to the video, so you should definitely see what else he says.
Yeah. Hey everybody. Down in the description, there are 2 links.
One is to a GoFundMe, and the other one is to a video that explains what the GoFundMe is for. Long story short, we have a medical situation with our daughter that we have to pay for everything out of pocket, and we could really use you guys' help. If you have the time, we'd love for you to go check it out. If you have the money, the funds, we'd love for you guys to help. If not, maybe you could send a link to somebody else who can help. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Press the off button.